It was a morning like any other on The View, with the familiar buzz of anticipation filling the studio as the audience took their seats, ready for another hour of sharp conversation, laughter, and the occasional surprise. The guest of the day was none other than Jennifer Lopez, singer, actress, producer, entrepreneur, and cultural icon whose presence commanded attention the moment she stepped onto the stage. Dressed in a sleek white suit that shimmered under the bright lights, she greeted the panel with warm hugs and radiant smiles. Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Sarah Haynes, and Sunny Hostin welcomed her enthusiastically, the mood at first lighthearted and full of promise. The energy in the room crackled with excitement, the audience clapping and cheering as the interview began, unaware that the hour ahead would take a turn no one could have predicted at the outset. The conversation was exactly what viewers had come to expect: fun, engaging, and peppered with laughter. Jennifer spoke about her new music, her recent film project, and the excitement of returning to live performances after a long hiatus. She shared amusing stories about balancing her demanding career with motherhood, and the hosts listened with genuine admiration, chiming in with their own anecdotes and words of praise. The audience lapped it up, hanging on every word as Jennifer spoke with her signature mix of confidence and sincerity. But as the conversation shifted, as it often did on The View, toward deeper, more complex topics, the mood began to subtly change. It was Joy Behar who introduced the topic, steering the conversation toward Jennifer's recent comments on societal issues and the role of celebrities in activism. Joy's tone was curious, even respectful, but the question was pointed. Did Jennifer ever worry that by taking strong stances on divisive issues, she risked alienating parts of her fan base? The studio grew quieter, sensing the shift in tone. Jennifer, still smiling but now more measured, responded thoughtfully. She spoke of the responsibility that came with visibility, of the importance of using one's voice to advocate for those who could not always speak for themselves. She emphasized that for her, art and activism were intertwined, that music, film, and performance could be powerful vehicles for change. The audience offered polite applause, and for a moment, it seemed the conversation might continue smoothly. But Joy pressed further, questioning whether the intensity of Jennifer's messaging might sometimes overshadow the art itself. Jennifer's smile faded, replaced by an expression of quiet determination. She pushed back gently at first, explaining that in today's world, silence was not an option, that staying neutral in times of injustice was itself a statement. Her voice grew stronger as she spoke, passion lighting her eyes. She insisted that as a Latina woman in an industry and a world where systemic challenges persisted, she had no choice but to speak out. Joy, unwilling to let the point drop, countered that the show aimed to foster dialogue, not division, that sometimes relentless activism could drown out the nuances that real change required. The tension between them began to mount, the easy camaraderie of earlier moments now giving way to something sharper, more charged. The other hosts, sensing the growing friction, tried to steer the conversation back to safer territory, but neither Jennifer nor Joy seemed ready to yield. Jennifer leaned forward, her voice rising slightly as she spoke of communities in crisis, of voices that had been marginalized for too long, of the frustration of seeing real issues reduced to talking points. Joy, to her credit, remained calm, but firm, urging Jennifer to consider that reaching across divides often required softening one's stance, finding common ground rather than drawing hard lines. The studio audience, once lively and vocal, now watched in near silence, their eyes darting between the two women as the exchange grew more intense. What had begun as an interview now felt like a debate, the clash of two strong personalities unwilling to let go of their truths. Jennifer gestured emphatically as she spoke, her words coming faster now, her frustration evident. She argued that too often, calls for civility became excuses for inaction, that too much time was wasted worrying about tone while real people suffered. Joy shook her head gently, urging Jennifer to see that dialogue and compromise were the only paths forward in a fractured world. The air in the room felt heavy, the tension so thick it was almost tangible. The other hosts sat quietly now, allowing the moment to play out. Knowing there was little they could do to interrupt the force of will on both sides, the turning point came when Jennifer, her voice filled with both passion and exasperation, declared that she could not in good conscience continue a conversation that, in her view, minimized the urgency of what she was fighting for. The audience gasped softly, the weight of her words sinking in. Joy, surprised but composed, expressed regret that Jennifer felt that way, insisting that no disrespect had been intended. But Jennifer had made up her mind. She stood, graceful and composed despite the fire in her eyes, and thanked the audience and the other hosts. Without another word, she turned and walked off the stage, leaving behind a room filled with stunned silence and the echo of a moment that would soon dominate headlines. The cameras quickly cut to commercial, the production team scrambling behind the scenes to regroup. When the show returned, the mood was somber, the usual easy rhythm of the panel disrupted. Joy addressed the audience directly, expressing her respect for Jennifer's passion and her hope that viewers would focus not on the walk-off, but on the issues that had prompted such a heated exchange. The rest of the episode proceeded, but the energy was different, quieter, more reflective. The audience, still processing what they had witnessed, responded with subdued applause and hesitant laughter as the hosts tried to bring some levity back into the room. Online, the incident went viral almost instantly. Clips of the heated exchange circulated on social media, drawing millions of views within hours. Opinions were sharply divided. Some praised Jennifer for standing her ground, for refusing to dilute her message for the sake of polite conversation. Others commended Joy for maintaining her composure, for trying to keep the dialogue respectful and constructive. News outlets dissected the moment, analyzing every word, every glance, every gesture in an attempt to understand how a friendly interview had spiraled into a televised showdown. In the days that followed, both Jennifer and Joy addressed the incident publicly. Jennifer released a statement reaffirming her commitment to the causes she championed and expressing regret that the conversation had ended as it had. Joy, on a subsequent episode of The View, spoke candidly about the clash, praising Jennifer's dedication while lamenting that their exchange had become contentious. She expressed hope that viewers would take away lessons about the importance of listening, even when disagreements ran deep. Behind the scenes, those who had been in the studio that day described the atmosphere as electric, the kind of raw, unscripted moment that reminded them of the power of live television. The production team reviewed the footage repeatedly, some unsettled by the intensity, others proud that the show had remained a space for honest, if difficult, conversations. The incident became part of the show's history, a reminder of the high stakes involved when deeply held beliefs collide in a public forum. For Jennifer, the walk-off became both a symbol of her passion and a flashpoint for debate about the role of celebrities in activism. She continued her work undeterred, using her platform to advocate for change, to speak out on the issues closest to her heart. Joy, too, carried on, her reputation for sharp commentary and fearlessness intact. And though the clash had been dramatic, the respect between the two women endured, both recognizing that the moment had been born not of animosity, but of the deep convictions they each held. And so, the morning Jennifer Lopez walked off The View became more than just a television spectacle. It became a moment of reckoning, a case study in the challenges of public discourse in a divided world. It served as a reminder of the power of words, of the difficulty of balancing passion with patience, and of the enduring need to find common ground, even when it feels out of reach. For those who watched it unfold, it was a moment they would not soon forget, a testament to the strength of two voices, each unwilling to be silenced. If you'd like, I can expand this with dialogue, reactions from specific audience members, or explore alternative outcomes. Let me know.